Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of SouthDade Chamber Shoutout. Incredible show for you today. Always informational. We have the extreme honor today to have the Honorable Otis T. Wallace, the Mayor of Florida City, with us. And we're going to talk some things about the city, but we're also going to really go into a few things that are happening here in SouthDade. Would like to take a moment of everyone's time to just reflect on the importance of life and understanding how quickly things can happen. Obviously, I'm referring to the situation with the Champagne Towers up in Surfside. But just give us a moment, folks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so honored to have Mayor Wallace here with us today. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, I almost can't stand it. You know, things have really been good. The coming out of COVID, the excitement, the movement, and it's all about trying to figure out. I mean, for us, our business is the SouthDade business, and that includes our municipalities, of which you've been leading one, and it's just getting better and better. Tell us a little bit about your city.
Well, first of all, I'd like to once again welcome you as our new executive director. I'm looking for some wonderful things to happen with the SouthDade Chamber under your leadership, and we're going to work very, very hard with you to make sure we make our community better. So welcome once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, I've been mayor of Florida City for 37 years. Some say I'm a glutton for punishment. I enjoy what I'm doing. It's a wonderful thing to grow up in a town, see it evolve through many different stages, and end up being the mayor of the city. I saw my grandmother watch me become mayor and sit at an office where she wasn't allowed to be after dark.
Mm.
And so to see that kind of evolution and to see her proud face as I was elected mayor was a wonderful thing and says much about the possibilities in America.
And you know, it takes fortitude, it takes guts, it takes the desire to not only have a dream about making changes, but putting a date on that dream and more or less making a goal and then follow through. I've been coming through, my family's from Fort Myers. I've been coming through on the way to the Keys since 1984. And I've watched the city little by little. Amazingly, most of it was just driving through. But that little portion on Route 1 has been so dynamic, and it's just an important thing. So let me ask you something. 37 years. How did you do that?
Well, I often say that I've been mayor of several different cities over the 37 years period. When I became mayor, the Florida city that I was honored to serve was totally different than the city I run now. Then you had hurricanes. The natural disasters totally converted Florida City once again into another city. And then we had a period where there was a city manager, which I had the honor of working with him. And then we went to strong mayor. So over that period of time, though it's Florida City, it's about 6 different Florida cities that I served as mayor of. And they're very distinctively different. The mayor's job today is totally, totally different than it was when I was first elected. And I think that helps keep you fresh. It keeps you excited. It keeps you challenged.
Wow. Yeah. And so you mentioned a strong mayor. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, strong mayor is, and most cities have what they call a city manager form of government, where the mayor manager form of government, where the manager runs the day-to-day operations of the city. The council set policy. The mayor is the administrative day-to-day. In the strong mayor form of government, the mayor is the manager of the city and also sits on the policy-making board with the council. Those are the two major differences between the two: manager-driven, elected official-driven.
I understand. Okay, very good. So now, in looking back and thinking about the growth and the changes that I like to call it this wonderful little gem that's evolving. What do you have planned?
Well, I have a simple goal every day, is to make it better today than it was yesterday. It sounds simplistic, but it's worked for me over the years. I have a long-term vision, And I'd like to see Florida City become a place where you want to live, raise your family, and work. And hand in hand with the chamber, we want to produce jobs. We want to produce ways of making a living so you can afford to live in your community and live well. And that's where we work hand in hand with the chamber. Florida City is right now in a era of unprecedented growth. Of the 34 cities in Miami-Dade, Florida City had the third highest rise in property values over the last year. And that's saying a lot when you're talking about a county as enormous as Dade County. We're proud of that. But with growth comes challenges. You got to make sure that it's the right type of growth. Make sure you can handle it. Make sure that the transportation part of it is there. Make sure the jobs are there. There are many components. Just rampant growth without planning can end up in a disaster. So part of it, while you're very happy to have people interested in investing in your community, you want to make sure that in the process of growing, that you grow smartly, comfortably, where people enjoy living there.
Responsible growth. That's always been a big issue for me. Fighting urban sprawl. Okay, fighting the urge to let things come into the area just to generate tax dollars and things like that. Being responsible to your constituents, and not, quite frankly, having too many. And it's an interesting thing because, as you said, there's always a balance between having the right amount of business, the right amount of population, and infrastructure. And what we've noticed, especially down here in SouthDade, there's a tendency for people to rush in and try to build and buy and, quite frankly, outstrip our infrastructure. And infrastructure can be as simple as roads.
Yeah.
And looking at what happens when all of the people that have moved down here now have to try to travel up to Miami or further north to work. So having jobs here is tremendous. Recruiting businesses, a tremendous idea. So I have to let the cat out of the bag here, because you and I have talked about bringing things. AMI, which is a youth program out of Tampa, is very interested now in coming down to Florida City. We're also looking at it. In fact, it's very interesting. I'm a professional diver, and I've noticed that there is not a dive shop from Austin's up just south of, in Kendall, all the way down to the Florida Keys. And so I have two current dive shop owners who are looking at property on Route 1 to go into a shop. Now, Route 1. And I have to laugh because that is such a big deal. And it's such a big deal that a lot of people don't know about. Okay, so if you folks don't know, there's talk about having a flyover that will actually come from 821 from the turnpike and pass many of the businesses on Route 1 in Florida City. Mayor, can you please discuss this with us?
Well, that's something that we're extremely concerned about. Such a undertaking would essentially kill our businesses south of 344th Street on US 1. Imagine you have made a major investment. You've employed a lot of people based on the reality of where you're located at the mouth of the Keys. And then somebody comes along and say, oh, it's a great idea. Let's go up and over and drop you past all of these hardworking businesses and think that it's okay. And the thing about it, the people in the Keys are not particularly happy with it either, because they're looking at it from the standpoint of not only are you just going over the businesses in Florida City, the buffer of people stopping and shopping and partaking in business slows down the rate of the people coming to the Keys. No matter how you do it, if you end up with a 2-lane road, which is all you're going to have into the Keys, and you simply force more people through that small funnel, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that 2 lanes is probably going to be more crowded than it was when traffic was dispersed throughout the community. But it's going to be a terrible undertaking. We're fighting. We have the support of all the local businesses, every one of them. There's nobody in support of this thing. and the people who work there are terrified. They get through COVID, and here's somebody trying to get a man-made COVID here, and it's our job as government to see that that does not happen. So we're working very, very carefully, but we're working very diligently to see that that doesn't happen.
So let me get this straight. What we're looking at doing is an overpass that would bypass the food stores that are there, the convenience stores, the hotels, the gas stations. And I've heard in a conversation where someone says, well, you know, folks are going straight down to the Keys. They're not stopping anyway. And first of all, there's always that opportunistic, okay, you know what, we need gas, or I'm hungry, or I have to go to the bathroom. Because once you get in that 2-lane causeway, there's no stopping for 26 miles. Okay, when you go to the bathroom or to get gas, there are all kinds of opportunistic things that you end up buying.
Well, it's interesting. Somebody would say they're not stopping. Those businesses are there for a reason. They're there because people are stopping, and those businesses are thriving. These businesses are not in trouble. They're thriving, except for the man-made potential threat that we're coming up with here. But the other thing about it that has to be mentioned, the thing is ugly as sin. This bypass is not artistically designed. It's a concrete monolith that's horrible to look at. If you just sit back and take a look at, I looked at one just doing some research up in the Doral area. That's I think it's like 27th Street, whatever, and everybody hates it, and all the businesses hate it, and they have not been helped by this. But the other thing, you take a nice, pleasant drive, you're headed for the Florida Keys, one of the most beautiful places to go, and you're stopping with your family, and then you see this big wall of Florida City. It's not the wall of China, but it's close. It's the wall of Florida City. And I just said that I am going to do everything in my power to see that that does not happen. That's something that I should not allow to happen as mayor, and I don't intend to.
I spent many years up in the Panhandle in Panama City, and coming over the Hathaway Bridge from Panama City onto Panama City Beach, they built the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. And the same reason, there was a light there, and they felt like that light was impeding traffic. But those businesses that were on the right-hand side of St. Andrews Bay, where the base of the bridge was, are gone. Mm-hmm. I mean, absolutely. They ended up raising the property there and building a high-rise. But the businesses that I spent 10 years frequenting, they're gone. And so it's not even that we are wondering what is going to happen. There's a track record. It's already there. And that's the thing that I don't understand.
Well, sometimes planners get out of control. They have a problem, a legitimate problem, and problems need to be solved, but they need to be solved thoughtfully. And you want to make sure that when you solve a problem, you don't create a bigger problem. And sometimes people that plan don't do a holistic plan. Consequences, and the result is it good or bad? And it's my opinion that this plan is bad. And I was very pleased when we had public hearings on this, that the entire room, our colleagues from the city of Homestead, the chamber, and every business, nobody in the community that this thing was meant to serve was happy. So I tell you, as mayor, when you start doing so many things that make your people unhappy, they get disenchanted with government. Government is supposed to be able to serve the people, not to rule and direct them. And in this case, we have a situation that's clearly not of service to the community, but one of those projects that will generate serious unintended consequences. So it's not happened yet. And I hope it doesn't get to the point that I have to lay down on US 1 in front of the bulldozer, but it may get to that.
It's interesting when they talk about environmental impact and environmental studies, that term doesn't just apply to the ecological aspects. There's also an economic aspect of that study. And I'm wondering where and when that was done.
Well, In a word, it wasn't done
Mm.
because we've had public hearings, and that was not one of the things that was presented to us as a one of the factors that were taken into consideration. The impact, their position has been, oh, it won't make a difference. So if it won't make a difference in your mind, you don't have to come up with a solution. But people who know their businesses feel quite differently. And I think they're more qualified to assess the impact of something on a business they've been running for 20 years, 25 years, 15, 10 years than a planner who's just looking at a bunch of boxes on paper, and predicting what will happen. I think it's a bad thing for Florida City. I don't think it's good for the Florida Keys as well. And I think that if you had to do one, it's my opinion that they found somebody who worked very hard at trying to make this structure look as ugly as it possibly could, and they were quite successful. They did a stand-up job in creating a monster.
So I have to chuckle at that because you used the term the wall of Florida City, and contiguous with the term the wall of China. Well, the wall of China is a beautiful structure.
Yeah, compared to this.
So obviously, this person didn't study his history or anything like that either. And so
Don't get me started on that one.
yeah,
That's probably the number one issue that I'm concerned about in the near future because it would have such an impact going forward. The mayor has to act today to sometime present disasters tomorrow.
right, right. And after 37 years, it's very clear that you've done a great job of that, and directing this city through, the landmark event of Hurricane Andrew, and rebuilt it. The city, I'm amazed.
What I found though is that in every disaster there's an opportunity. I remember when Andrew hit and destroyed the city, but always looking for the the good aspect. I said, well, it also destroyed a bunch of stuff that needed to go that probably never wouldn't have gone on its own. No, and unfortunately, we didn't have any loss of life with Andrew, but it got rid of a lot of ugly things that we had a chance to do better.
Right.
And so, you cry, and then you wipe the tears away and say, well, here's an opportunity. Here's a blank canvas here. Let's make it better. And I've looked at every adversity that we faced as an opportunity to make it better. And I think with that, you get through just about anything.
Outstanding. And that's absolutely words of wisdom. Something else you told me a long time ago that has stuck with me was the relationship with Homestead. And it seems like Florida City a lot is forgotten. It's always said, oh, it's Homestead, it's Homestead. But they're actually two different municipalities. But I remember you telling me a long time ago that there are two cities, but one community.
Yes.
And I've noticed the cross-pollination. You can go to any restaurant and you'll see people from Florida City or people from Homestead, vice versa. And a lot of that is a testament to you and your leadership.
Well, I think also it has to do with planning. You have a city across Lucy Street. One side is Florida City, one side is Homestead. When we try to attract businesses and industry into our town, we try not to duplicate what's happening in Homestead. We don't want to cannibalize a small market. We want to add to it.
Right.
So our goal is not to duplicate what we already have, but to recruit and fight for what we don't have. And I think if both cities do that, then I think the whole community, is made better. The Town Homestead project is a wonderful project. I love it because it brings people into the area. Our community has got to stop being a place where people go through. You mentioned yourself that going through to the Keys. Well, our goal was that's a natural asset of people coming through. Let's stop them before they go to the Keys. Let's stop them before they go to the Everglades. Let's stop them within our community. And it takes both cities thoughtfully developing to give people a reason to stop, stay a few days, support our businesses, and then happily head for the Keys or wherever they were going, but think of coming back and stopping again. That's the goal. And I think the cities do well in working together and not cannibalizing each other.
And that's another tremendous thing to bring up, because this metropolitan area has two national parks. There is no other metropolitan area in the entire country that has two.
And as a diver, you forgot Biscayne National Park. We got three: Biscayne, Everglades. Well, there's two African national parks.
Yeah.
I counted the Keys. You're
Right. Yeah. But I'm talking about, well, the Keys is Monroe County.
Yeah.
I'm talking about us, our metropolitan area.
Yeah.
Okay. With the Everglades, and then as a diver, for sure, I'm out there, and I was out in Biscayne over the weekend. And so we're blessed to have that. And so to get those folks to slow down or to visit on the way back.
Sure.
Okay. On the way back, there's signage that says, hey, these things are here. Stop. And it works. And as a chamber of commerce, our business is those businesses. And how can we help them? How can we build upon them? Recruiting other businesses that basically are going to work well with or complement, what's already here. There's hotels going up on that strip like crazy.
And they're doing well.
Exactly. When you see a 12, 15-story building come up and then you can't get a room in it, okay, obviously there's something there, okay, and for bringing businesses in and welcoming them and having them believe and feel that Florida City is the home that they want to be, that's all leadership.
Well, I think it takes a lot of work. It takes teamwork. It takes a lot of planning, thoughtful planning. And the first step to making any plan work is to assess the needs of your community. Find out what it is that you need. Immediately after you accomplish one goal, my philosophy is that's history.
Mm-hmm.
No patting on the back. That was yesterday. The goal is what do we do today to make it better?
Okay, Mr. Mayor. So that's like the perfect segue for me, because I have to say, the SouthDade Chamber has started or restarted what we call SDCC after hours. And what that's all about is coming out of COVID, and getting together with other business owners, discussing the things that we need to do to work together. You were at our last one, which for me was a raging success. I had so many people come out of there saying, wow, we're so glad that we came. But the reality of it is I could only pat myself on the back until I got home. And then it was like, okay, let's plan the next one. Okay, that one was history. What was really good about that one is we had politicians in the house. Okay, you were there. Senator Anna Rodriguez was there, Anna Maria Rodriguez. There was a representative from Commissioner Higgins' office there. The week before, there were city councilmen from Homestead. And what we're trying to do is get our businesses to come out, to socialize with each other, to find out how they can work together, complement each other, but at the same time, have access to you, to the other politicians, because you control and guide what's going to happen with them. And by the same token, they're the ones who vote for you to make sure you stay there.
And one thing I forgot to mention that I got to mention in terms of transportation, I've been asked the question many times. The widening project that we did on Palm Drive, where we culverted the canal and created extra lanes of traffic, I'm constantly asking, well, Mayor, you stopped in the middle of the canal. What about the rest? Well, planning. We were just awarded $16.8 million to finish the rest of the Palm Drive Canal all the way out to Homestead Senior High, to cover the whole thing with beautiful lanes of traffic that will manage all the great growth we have in Homestead and Florida City. Both areas are growing out there, and this roadway will help to make that traffic flow even better. So again, we saw the growth coming. We planned for the transportation upgrades, and now they're both meshing. So that's one of those circumstances where plans really meet a need. So I just want to announce that to people who ask me all the time, what about the rest of it? Well, it's funded, and we're about to begin construction.
And I have to say, I live out there. I use that part of the road every day, and the difference. There were times where I would avoid it, and this was pre-construction, just because it was another bottleneck. And now
it's as well.
Right now, it's a pleasure to drive that way. In fact, I can readjust when I leave my home, because now that 15 minutes is sometimes less than 5. And so The beginning of the turnpike, I never used that because it was easier to drive up and get on at exit
Sure.
2, you know, but now it's way easy. You get there less than 5 minutes. I'm there. So that and then again, a lot of these things are done and controlled by funding.
Yeah.
And you have been a master at providing funding for your city and getting the things that your constituents need. And this a prime example. Prime example.
At the end of the day, it's all their money. You know, we forget that every time we work, money comes out of our paycheck and goes somewhere. Well, when we get grants for the community, it's our money coming back to the community.
Right.
And I think that if people, taxes are a necessity, I guess, but it's good when you see them put to use that make life better, that makes it more pleasant and account for needs. So we one of our focus points in Florida City is bringing federal, state dollars and county dollars back to the community. And you have to work at it. They don't just come knocking on your door and say, "Here you go." You have to be obstinate and go after it.
Exactly. Finding that out myself, trying to grow the chamber and try to make it better. One of the things that COVID did, there were services and things that we wanted to provide to our membership that we weren't able to. And so we're going to come out a lot harder and work bigger and better to get some of these things done, especially exposure for our businesses. Speaking of which, we do have a new member. Can you see this? There it is. There we go. So this is one of our newest members of the SouthDade Chamber. This is Quinceañera, which is a photo and transportation company. They just joined the chamber last week. So this is their shout out. Look them up. If you'll Google them, they'll show up. One of the things that they've asked us to do and we're happy about is providing our members that can help them, that can mentor them, that can basically be a guide, not only business wise, but sometimes just, you know, this is what the people are like here. These two people are new to the area, and so we're welcoming them. And as well as the different events that we're having, we're looking right now to have another SouthDade shout out. This is the shout out after hours. We're going to do that up further north, basically in the Cutler Bay area. Everything so far has been down south. We're talking with the mayor and his staff to find out where they'd like for us to do it and give them a little bit of involvement. And the plan is essentially to bounce back and forth. So every other week, we're going to have a after hours, and one will be the northern part of just around 184th Street in South, and then the other will be down where we have been historically, Florida City and Homestead.
I love the opportunity to get up and visit with Mayor Bot. He's doing a great job up there. So I'm glad to see you're going to reach out to our neighbors to the north as well.
Absolutely. And again, this is a community. And if we build ourselves together strategically with planning, I mean, if you think about it, we have all the reasons in the world to vote and act and move together.
Sure.
Okay. And it's just a matter of pulling this block together and use the strength. Electing Mayor Levine Cava was the last time we did that. Okay. And we flexed our muscle. All right. So we need to start looking at that.
Well, isn't it a beautiful thing when you show that you got it right? She's doing a tremendous job under terrible circumstances. I know her personally, and I know how much she cares. And to see her get up there every single day with the leadership that she's shown and the concern, the caring, the whole picture, we're very proud of the job our mayor is doing under the most difficult circumstances you could imagine.
And it has to be horrifying. Every day has to be trying. There's not going to be good news. No. And every day she's there. And every day she puts on the face of strength, okay, knowing that there's never going to be good news until this is over. And so our prayers are actually with her and her mental well-being, because it's also very stressful.
Leadership is not always pleasant.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, folks, thank you so much for being with us this morning. We've had a very interesting and enlightening chat with the mayor of Florida City, and look forward to seeing all of you next week. We'll be bringing another exciting visitor here nowhere near as exciting as Mayor Wallace. But anyway, thanks you so much for spending your morning with us.
And thank you. I've really enjoyed it. And let's keep SouthDade moving forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have a great rest of your day.